Hello, and welcome back to ministry. I wanted to bring up this revelation that came to me the other day. I didn't have a chance to sit down and record it. I don't always have the time to sit down in front of a camera and record what I see spiritually. But this came to me. The Lord gave me a vision in a dream about a month ago, talking about in relation to the God ordained spouse, that waking up in the middle of the night, keeping your lamps burning. Tiffany Montgomery did a word last year towards the end of the year talking about the bridegroom coming, and that you had the 5 foolish virgins and the 5 wise. The 5 foolish virgins let their lamps go out. The 5 wise virgins kept their lamps going and would not share their oil with the ones that lamps went out. So while the ones that had to go get oil left, the ones that stood there with their lamps still going, they received. What the Lord showed me very clearly is Hanukkah just occurred. On the 26th of Hanukkah, which should be the day that you will see this video, that is the 8th day of Hanukkah, falling the day after the 10th of Tevet, which is the day that that Esther was presented to Xerxes, and that it was her point in time before she married King and became the wife of Xerxes. Presented and becoming wife. Genesis 2 and 22. Eve was presented before Adam. He discovered her and said, "This is bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, and you are a woman." A lot of us have been standing. It has been a rather difficult last week. But with Hanukkah, it talks about the family who's lit the lamp that stayed lit for the 8 days of Hanukkah. The lamp. The women that were waiting on the bridegroom had what? Lamps that they had to keep the oils lit. The lamp for the menorah for Hanukkah stayed lit 7 days longer than it was expected to. The women whose lamps went out, their lamps went out, they had to go get more oil. The ones whose lamps stayed lit. Anybody notice that this past week that a lot of people have been talking about people wanting to give up, falling for depression, and some have been heavily talking about suicide and all kinds of confusion thoughts. The enemy has been trying to get people's lamps to go out towards the blessings that the Lord is preparing to release in this season. The bridegroom is coming. The sign of the bridegroom coming is the fact that the 10th of Tevet is the day that entered the season that Esther was presented to the king, which falls on the 25th and the 26th at the end of Hanukkah. This is a culminative period because you have Hanukkah, the 10th of Tevet, Christmas, all falling on the same time frame, overlapping and interweaving. And you think that God's not going to do something. God is up to something, even if we cannot see it. I had a dream about 2 months ago, and in it, I was in a resort location, but I was distracted by, it was a bunch of people from my past that were there that should not have been there. I was hanging around with elders, and we were preparing to go to the dinner. And the place that the dinner was being held, there were a lot of people complaining about what was going on with the delay in getting into the dinner area. While the people that were operating the place, you saw two people at a camera angle that would have been only where the two people were standing could be heard, where they were saying they don't even realize the celebration that they're about to walk into. They don't know that it's not what they think. A lot of us have been the women. We've either been the ones where our lamps went out, or we've been the ones that have been barely standing, but our lamps still got light in it. Whatever the prophetic act was that the Lord showed you. Jolynn Whitaker did a 4-day prayer call. The 5th day, I finished with my apostle at the beginning of 10th Tebet. I went into prayer. I did what I needed to do. My lamp did not go out. I don't know about what your lamp is, but Lady Jeremiah released a word that around this time, it was between September, October, and around this December time frame, at the shift of the year, there is a literal shift. I think it's 578. You got 5778, 577. I think it was 5778 that we just shifted into. And because we just shifted into that in September, October, it talks about the king being in the field. We are under an open heaven, and I've been hearing open heaven and open doors for the past few days. That it's a very pinnacle time that we're coming upon the time. It's not to say that the door is shutting, but I've always felt like it was something about the time frame of the Greek calendar changing to that 5778 and our calendar changing to the new year, that this last week is going to be something is to come of that. You know, if the Lord's been speaking to you, then you know. If the Lord has shown you that there's something coming, but he hasn't shown you exactly what, you know something is up. Don't take my word for it. You bets to take anything I say to you. I don't care if I don't say to you, take it back to God. You got to have common sense in these days, but some people, common sense ain't common, so I'm going to say it again. Take it back to God. But it's been swirling atmospherically that this last 7 days of this month is going to bring about a shift and a change. That where you are now is not where you're going to be. And there's going to be a shift. However that shift is meant to transpire. But prepare to walk into whatever it is that you've been praying for. For the king is in the field, and the manifestation of the blessings is en route to you. Your lamps had to remain lit. Just like that candle had to remain lit for that 8 days. And as we enter into the 8th day, the king is in the field. And we've been saying for the longest, he's coming. God's been showing me something very specific in the past couple of days, which is a further confirmation to what I've been expecting. I don't know what it is that you've been expecting. But if the Lord said that he's coming, he's coming. How he's coming, don't worry about that. Just understand, that you receive that he is coming, and let the Lord give you wisdom as to how to prepare. But it's coming. And I can't tell you how, I can't tell you when, but there has been this spiritual atmospheric push to make people feel like they should give up on these last 7 days of this year and just throw in the towel and start planning for 2023. But there have been a lot of people standing in that gap saying, no, don't give up on the end of this year too soon, because God's about to do something and you will be surprised how in which it falls into place. A lot has been happening. There has been judgment that has been transpiring. There's been shift that has been transpiring, and that the Lord is moving and shifting some things in ways that you would never expect. So be prepared and know that the Lord is up to something. Even if you cannot see it, it's closer than you think. When I tell you, I have seen song titles in reference to closer for the past 3 days. And to me, that means something, because the Lord had told me previously, closer than you think. So if you won't receive it, that's up to you. If you don't, take it to the Lord. Do not blame it on me. I always say this. I raise my hand before the Lord when it comes down to this. When it comes down to this, I always am to the Lord when I go into prayer. Lord, what do you want? Let your will be done. And it's like, if I'm right or if I'm wrong, please tell me. Just takes a strong-willed person to say, God, please tell me. So, with that being said, that's the word. So, you will probably receive this at some point in time on the 26th. So, take it as you choose. But understand, the Lord is moving. And I want to preface by saying the Lord is moving, that it all depends on what part and the way that your season has been structured. What have you prayed for? God is answering the prayers that you prayed for. Some are big, some are small. Sometimes you're wondering, oh, I'm looking for that big blessing. Why did I? Maybe the next 7 days, what you could be looking for is the little things, the signs that God is answering, because God will answer your prayer by giving you the answer in clarity to the thing that you were asking for. It may not always be a physical thing he gives you. It may be a spiritual clarity, a word, a note, a photograph, something that will clarify something, but it's the answer that you were seeking. Even if it's not the physical manifestation of that very thing, it's the confirmation that that thing is still en route to you. So I wanted to preface it by that, because a lot of people be out here, it's like, this is going to happen in the next 7 days, and then nothing happens. And then it's like, maybe it wasn't the fact that that thing was supposed to happen. It was the fact that God was trying to show you through several confirmations that you missed because you weren't paying attention, because you were looking for the thing, and God was trying to show you the sign of that thing about to happen. But either way, the Lord is going to bring about the manifestation of something in the next 7 days. So be aware and keep your eyes open to something changing, very personally. The rest is between you and him. Stay in peace, because there are things that are going to come rapidly in the beginning of 2023. But you got to know the place that you are with God. And the biggest way for you to do that is to ask the Lord, what season are you in? Are you in the season of manifestation, or are you in the season of preparation? But don't turn around and get mad at the messenger when you were thinking something massive was going to happen, and sometimes God was giving you a minuscule thing in order to see how you handle that. Remember the word I did? I think it was called when you're looking for a leap and God gives you steps or something like that. So just be aware. But God is moving, and you must be prepared for either route so that you will be able to receive what it is that the Lord is preparing to do for you in this season. I hope that this blessed you. And until next time, bye-bye.